Chelsea. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing my fancy booktube hat, and today I'm bringing you my TBR for the month of August. I've noticed over the past couple summers that my reading tends to accelerate in the summer for no particular reason that I can figure out, except that it feels like a good reading time of year. So I'm hoping to get through a lot of books this August. We'll see. But first, I have a slightly embarrassing anecdote. The first book that would have been on this TBR would have been Embassytown by Miéville. I had this out from the library, and I was planning on picking it up at the end of last month when I'd finished everything on my TBR for last month. But it was due back at the library, and I thought I would be able to renew it because there were other copies that were supposedly available in the system, and I thought that the hold on it was going to be filled with one of those other copies. So I started this book. I got 2 chapters into this book, and then it was due back, and I returned it, and then I figured out that the reason that hold wasn't filled by one of those other copies is that when I went to that branch to look for them, they weren't there. So, yeah. So anyways, right now I don't know when I'm going to read this book, but whenever my new hold comes back in, I am going to read it straight away because I do not want that to happen to me again with the same book. That would just be humiliating. I know that this is a sci-fi novel about linguistics and alien species. I have been actually seriously intimidated to pick this book up, even though it really interests me. Because I've read some reviews that say that it's a really challenging book to read, and so it's not the best place to start with Miéville. But it's the only one of his books where the premise really interests me. So I have some trepidation going into this book, but I hope it's going to be really interesting. So wish me luck. Also with the library. I could use luck with the library right now. So in the last few days of last month, after that embarrassment happened, I had gotten just far enough into Embassytown that I was really committed to a sci-fi mood, and I was I need a sci-fi book right now. So I went and pulled from my TBR stack the next library sci-fi book I had, which was The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky. I have already finished this. It was really unput-downable once I got into it. But I'm not going to say anything more about that here because that goes in my wrap-up. Anyways, I hadn't read this yet because I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the US print release. And the print release of this book was just last month in the United States. It has been all over BookTube because people in the UK have physical copies and people in the US had ebook copies, and I did not have an e-reader. And I also wasn't going to go out on a limb and purchase an international copy of a book by, a new author I hadn't read before. So I had to wait to be able to get this from the library. And I got it and I read it. I have to say though, I find the American cover design really underwhelming. So what I'm reading right now is The Queen of Blood by Beth Durst. This is the first book in an epic fantasy series that is coming out in September. This is an advance copy, and this is about a land where the nature spirits want to kill the humans, and they're held at bay by the queens, and only women in this land have the magical power to control spirits. I am not quite halfway through with it yet, but it's going pretty quickly for me. Next, I have another book that I am really excited about, and that is Necessity by Jo Walton. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm very pumped about this conclusion to this trilogy. This is the Thessaly trilogy that started with The Just City and The Philosopher Kings. You may know that I loved The Philosopher Kings even more than the first book. This third book was just released last month. I'm looking forward very much to reading it. I'm hoping it lives up to my expectations. This is about Greek gods and Plato's Republic, and this one is going to be, I think, far more sci-fi than the first two. There may be aliens. So when I'm done with this, I'm hoping that I'll have time to do a series review. If not, you'll definitely hear about this in my wrap-up. The next book that I want to read is also the final book in a series. I'm going to be reading Abhorsen, the third book in Garth Nix's The Abhorsen Chronicles. I have this in a bind-up. I read Sabriel last summer and Lariel a few months ago. I'll find whatever wrap-up that's in and link it for you. So yeah, not much more to say about this right now. I'll be finishing up this trilogy. You may have noticed I like to alternate, like book I own, library book, book I own, library book. So yes, I have another library book. I have Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. This is very short. This is a novella, so I'm expecting I can probably read this in like a day. And lots of people I respect have said really great things about this. So I'm looking forward to getting on the bandwagon. And I don't have any more library books out right now. So the rest of the books I'm showing you are books that I own. They might get demoted a bit if there are more library books coming in that need to get shuffled into this lineup. But Bitter Greens by Kate Forsyth is one of the books that I have been most looking forward to reading this year. This is a historical fiction novel with a double narrative that's about the history of the Rapunzel fairy tale. I think one of the plot lines takes place in 17th century France and another one takes place in 16th century Italy. That's, I think, what I'm getting from this description. This sounds so much like my cup of tea, and it has so many high ratings online, and this author I know also has several other books that I would want to read if I liked this, so I'm hoping that I like her writing. Okay, and I promised myself I would read this book by the end of the summer, so I have to squeeze it in this month somehow. This is Son of the Shadows by Juliet Marillier. This is the second book in her Seven Waters series. The first being Daughter of the Forest, which I read a while ago, maybe last year, maybe a year and a half ago. Anyways, these are probably her most famous books, and I have all three of the original trilogy now. It was later expanded into a longer series, but for now I own the first three. So I think I will squeeze this one in this month somehow, even though it's long. Yeah. And the last book I'd really like to read this month is A Natural History of Dragons by Brennan. If I don't get to it this month, though, it's not the end of the world, but if I don't, I will be reading it like first thing in September. This is a series, the Memoir by Lady Trent series, that I just want to read so much that I can't put this off any longer, and as incentive, it is also one of the current picks for a Goodreads group I'm a member of called Into the Forest, and they're reading this through September 15th, so I'm definitely going to read it by then. I'm hoping to love it because all of these books look beautiful and fabulous, and I want to love this book so I can read the whole series. Okay, that is all. I hope this was a pretty quick video. These are things that I want to read. If you've read any of these, please let me know what you thought of them. If you'd like to talk to me about anything else, books and stuff, leave a comment. Nice talking to you. Bye for now.